Hello and welcome. I'm Nick Groves, and I am a ambassador for Renzetti and our distribution fly tying materials. I'm here today on behalf of the great guys at Drift Outfitters in Toronto, Ontario, to do a short video today on some of the newer things that Renzetti has to offer on their vices and tools. In particular, today I just want to talk a little bit about this guy here, which is called the hook holder, or I guess for the streamer, articulated streamer tire, it's a handy tool. It's nothing new out there, but it was something I brought up to Renzetti back in August of 2019 when we were down there for some meetings to talk about innovation, new product, and some of the things the ambassadors were hoping to have some influence on in design. So I kind of presented this because at the time I was tying on the Clouser vise. Absolutely love this vise and the design of it for any of my streamer tying. As you can see here, it's completely in line. Everything's nice and out of the way, super clean when you have the hook in the vise. One of the biggest things I've always had a problem with, though, is just stabbing my hands with the back hooks or stingers or whatever as you're turning or spinning or tying, just things getting in the way and flopping around. So what happened that weekend down in Florida was Andy's son Andrew and I tried to just use a bunch of different parts to put together something that may work as a product, and everyone seemed to be super excited about it. So we took it away and I went back home and drafted up a design for something to incorporate this into the Clouser head, but also to have a lot of adjustability. And so I sent it back to Andy and got a call back and something in the mail one day, and he sent me a prototype. And Andy being Andy, I mean, it's Andy Renzetti, he came back and said, what we would like to do here is come up with an accessory tool that can fit on any vise so that no one has to buy an entire new thing to get the product. And that's what Andy has been considered super important in his designs. Once you buy a vise, he never wants you to have to buy another one again. So he came out with this. So what this is on the Clouser is essentially what he came out with as a prototype, and it's now available. It was available last year, called the hook retainer for the Clouser. And what it is a collar that sleeves on, has a set screw underneath that locks it in, and then it has two different size springs to accommodate any size of fly. Also can double over. There's a set screw on the bottom that can double over as a material clip as well. So it's kind of versatile. They also created one based on, it's a modification to the material clip on all Traveler series vices as well. So you can get that on pretty much everything except for the Master at this point. Pretty cool. It's super easy to use, and I found it quite handy. I mean, if you look at something from, an Unholy Diver here that has a stinger hook way in the back, there's a huge gap between the front and the back hook. But even putting this hook in the vise, and even with the larger spring, it will still hold that fly, keep everything nice and out of your way, so you can preen back materials and not worry about stabbing yourself, which totally sucks. Similarly, if you want to step down to something smaller, your standard a standard 3 to 5 inch streamer, it should have no problem on that articulation on the back hook. So again, super simple to get in, attach, and go. And I just found it to be a super great and handy tool. Even skipping up, so you get into something like a Jason King musky fly here that has it's a triple, and running up to a 5/6 hook in the front and a 3/0 in the back, you've got a super big distance between there. All it takes to go switch over to some musky stuff is taking the spring off, popping on the smaller spring, loading the fly, and this jaw, again, talking about Renzetti's jaws, anyone that's had the experience of tying on them, I mean, you can go from tying a size 24 midge up to a 5/0 hook and not have any issue. And then the smaller spring basically would secure this. So this is like an 11-inch fly on the same system, same setup and everything. And you're secure, you're out of the way, everything's good to go. So pretty cool there. And the other thing was when they put this out, they kind of then developed and said, okay, well, we want to put together an entire Vice setup that's based around the streamer tire. And it kind of came out of our discussions back in August of 2019. And what happened was they then took the idea of the Clouser, which Bob was down there and learned a lot about the Vice at the time, but what an incredible design for streamer time. They kitted everything out together, so you can now directly order what they consider and what I would consider the perfect streamer vise, where you have everything in line. You have a saltwater jaw that's the same as the saltwater jaw that'd be on the Traveler. Everything's black on black. You have a larger turning knob here. This is a new addition in just late in 2020 for the extended crank arm that's available on Clauser's, Travelers, and Masters. And they've also gone ahead and done their newest streamer, or the largest base that they offer, which comes with the streamer vise. Comes in 4 or 5 different colors. This is a sea foam. I think that was Lily's influence on that. Magnetic pockets on the base, super durable. Nothing is going anywhere on that base. So that all comes together. It's a pretty awesome setup. I don't believe you really need much else for tie-in streamers if you're a Renzetti tire. I think it's a great option, and you know, when you look at the range, it's definitely a cost affordable option when you look at all the different vices that are on the market. So yeah, that's the Clouser. That's the hook retainer that we came up with that came together with this whole streamer vice design. But Andy wanted to make sure that everyone had the same sort of function on the Traveler. So here's a Traveler. This again, I've put the larger crank arm on. They work on any Traveler, Clouser vice. This is the new Game Changer jaw that is pretty neat. I've been playing around with that a little bit. But basically, same sort of situation here. I've lost the smaller spring. It's down on the carpet. Probably stuck to the bottom of my foot. But anyways, same situation here. And the other thing was we wanted to have a set screw that kind of stood things up a little bit so that when you put your hook in larger streamers, it kind of keeps the hook up and out of the way from things. That way everything sort of stays out of the way of the jaw and the vise and everything else. It actually works pretty well, and the spring stays in that collar that Andy kind of designed there. So that's fallen out. Oh, I found the smaller spring, but we'll leave it at that. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you get into this, and again, if there's any tools, vices, or accessories that you need from Renzetti, Drift is your store. They have full access to everything that they offer, and yeah, support local, support independent. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.